He's back to pass. Pressure coming. He's going to get hit in the end zone. That's going to be a safety.
It's now time for Gridiron, State of the Union.
Another touchdown, Porter Ridge, and they've gone up. The score is 23-17.
Presented by DMR Reconstruction, North Carolina's leader in quality insurance restoration services, with crews on standby 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. DMR Reconstruction has your restoration needs covered. Give them a call at 704-327-4028.
He's going to hand it off to Byram. Byram on the right-hand side. He's going to be into the end zone. Touchdown, Monroe.
Gridiron State of the Union is your insider's look each week into Union County High School football.
Malcolm fires one off, and it's into the end zone. Touchdown, Piedmont.
Now we head into the DMR Reconstruction Studio and your host, Brian Stevenson.
Austin Kendall back to pass, flips it over to the end zone. It's going to be caught for a touchdown. Easy. J.T. Coffin.
To Mitchell Carson. He's straight up the middle. He jukes to the right. He's down to the 20, the 15, the 10. No flag down. Touchdown, Weddington.
15 weeks, 24 combined wins, and it all comes down to 4 quarters between Cuthbertson and Weddington to see which team goes to the state championship next week. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Gridiron State of the Union. I'm Brian Stevenson. 16 teams started out in the 3AA Western bracket, and the final 2 teams remaining in the West are only 3.6 miles apart. Hard to believe. Last week, Cuthbertson had one of their most complete games of the season, shutting out Statesville 42-0, and Weddington went on the road in a tough environment at Asheville and came home with the victory 28-23. One other game to report on this week. Unfortunately, Monroe played a tough game but fell short at Franklin 17-14. But still a great season for Coach Johnny Sow and the Redhawks. But with that Monroe loss, we only have one game, and that destination is Cuthbertson High School on Friday night. Cuthbertson taking on Weddington. Winner goes to the state championship, and I'm joined now by Sideline Mike. And Mike, this is what we were hoping would happen. What a game this should be on Friday night.
What a game it should be. For the second time in 2 years, the Western Regional Championship will be decided in Union County. This is a rematch of Week 8 when the Warriors faced the Cavaliers. It come down to literally the very last seconds of that ball game. This week's going to be nothing different.
I tell you what, you look at the season those two teams have had, and you were hoping it would come down to this. But really, if you look at they have played the best football in the West. I mean, they went up to Asheville last week. Talk about how good they looked, Weddington that is, going into a tough place to play like Asheville and coming away for the second year in a row with a victory.
Weddington goes up to Asheville. There was absolutely no butterflies in the stomach for the Warriors. Played a great football game. Great first half. The second half, a couple of mistakes that Weddington made could come into play this week. You're not going to be able to commit a whole lot of mistakes against a Cavalier football team that really knows how to capitalize.
And, of course, I had the call on that Cuthbertson game. Talked to Coach already. He felt like that was the most complete game that the Cavaliers had all year, and they shut out a Statesville team that knows how to move the ball 42-0. It was just a dominating performance on both sides of the ball, and really you combine both teams, and they're playing their best football potentially right now. You just got to hope that it's going to be what everybody's billing it to be on Friday night.
Yeah, you really do, and there's nothing that there's nothing on the paper that tells us that it'll be anything short of what we're expecting. When you look at the season both of these teams had, Weddington, of course, only one loss. Cuthbertson comes in with 3. The only loss on the season, the only blemish, if you will, for the Warriors, that loss to Cuthbertson in Week 8. It was a 42-38 ball game. This game, Friday night, is going to be just as close.
Well, it's going to be a great game, like we said. WIXC will have it live. Hope everybody will listen. And Sideline Mike, appreciate you joining us all year long. We'll have one more episode to go after this week, but that's been your Roundtable segment. And coming up, we'll talk with the coach of the Cavaliers, David Johnson, right after this.
This quick break in the action is brought to you by DMR Reconstruction, the exclusive sponsor of the Gridiron State of the Union. One of these days, you're going to want to do home improvement. New windows, new doors. Maybe you got hardwood floors you want to refinish, or you need new carpet or flooring. DMR Reconstruction is your go-to source. They also specialize in fire, water, wind, and mold damage restoration. They'll even help you deal with the insurance companies. Visit the showroom in Marshville, North Carolina, or give them a call at 704-327-4028, 24/7 for emergencies, 327-4028. Let them know you heard about them here on Wixie. And now back to more of the Gridiron State of the Union, brought to you by DMR Reconstruction.
Welcome back to Gridiron State of the Union. I'm joined now by Coach David Johnson of the Cuthbertson Cavaliers. And Coach, let's start off with that impressive 42-0 win last Friday night against Statesville. Talk about your team's absolute domination of the Greyhounds.
Yeah, I thought, the game plan that we had set up and what we had seen them do on film really was executed, almost to perfection. Whenever you can hold a team that's averaging almost 30 points a game to 0 points, and I think it was like 89 or 90 total yards of offense, I thought we were sound, fundamentally sound, and really executed the game plan. The boys played with great heart and emotion and did a good job.
And of course, timing is everything. This is when you want to be playing your best ball. Was that maybe the most complete game of the season for your Cavaliers?
Yeah, it was. I would say, definitely defensively, it was the most sound game we've played all year. Offensively, they did some good things on defense that kind of held us at bay, I guess, for the first couple of quarters. And then once we hit a couple of things, obviously the floodgates opened and it ended up 42-0. But top to bottom, that was probably our best football game we've played all year.
What has Austin meant as far as leadership in the locker room for someone who's been to the top of the mountain, won a championship? What has that influence been as you guys get deeper and deeper in this thing?
Yeah, you can't really coach game experience, and you can't really coach big moment experience or big game experience. So the fact that he's been there and done that and been able to bring a calming presence sometimes throughout the playoffs where, the games were close and we had to make some plays. And, I think he's just done a good job of passing along that competitive spirit and that will to win, and it's become infectious. And as you saw last Friday night, they really played inspired, and they really played for each other, and they really played as a team. And when you do that, those are the type of results you get.
Well, we talked about it on the sidelines before the game. I could see it in just the way they were bouncing around in their stretches and everything. Now you turn to an opponent you know very well, an opponent you knocked them off of the mountain this year. I'm sure they want some revenge. So talk about this matchup here. Winner goes to state championship on Friday night.
Yeah, it's crazy to think, and I'm sure Tim says the same thing. It's crazy to think that 2.5 miles away you have two schools that have done what these two schools have done. And, obviously Friday night someone's going to win and someone's going to lose, and someone's going to go on to the state championship game and someone's not. But I don't think it should take away from what this area as a whole has done. And, obviously we got a game where we know them, they know us. The first time we played, you could argue, was game of the year. It came down to the final seconds. We had the ball last and scored, but I fully expect on Friday night we'll pick up right where we left off, and it will just be two great teams battling for the right to go to the state championship game. And honestly, in my heart of hearts, I think Weddington and Cuthbertson are the two best teams on this western side. And when we did beat them, I told Tim right after the game, see you in the playoffs. And we were actually joking about that when we exchanged film on Saturday. I just knew it was going to come back down to us two for the right to go to the state championship.
Well, Coach Johnson, thank you for your time, and we wish you and the Cavaliers the best of luck on Friday night. Now, when we come back, we'll talk to his opponent, the coach of the Weddington Warriors, Tim Carson, right after this.
Thank you for tuning in and listening to the Gridiron State of the Union, brought to you exclusively by DMR Reconstruction. Fire, water, wind, or mold damage, they are your go-to source. And if you're thinking about remodeling, from the tip top of the roof to the bottom of the foundation, they can handle it for you. Windows, doors, paint, floors, vinyl siding, they do it all at DMR Reconstruction. Stop by and visit their showroom on Highway 74 in Marshville, North Carolina. You'll be glad you did. 704-327-4028, 327-4028, and they hope you're enjoying the Gridiron State of the Union, brought to you by DMR Reconstruction.
Welcome back to Gridiron State of the Union. I'm joined now by the coach of the Weddington Warriors, Tim Carson. And, Coach, first of all, what a great win to go up on the road and defeat Asheville. Talk about the way your team played and making it even to this semifinal game.
Well, I mean, I think our kids have done a great job throughout the year, just improving week to week, and definitely going up to Asheville and getting a win was, great for our kids. One is that, getting to the semifinals, regional finals and semifinals of the state, and also having 13 wins in a season, which has never been done. So our kids are real excited.
I know anytime you lose a group or graduate a group, you wonder if that next group is going to step up. And I know that was a really special group that you said goodbye to last year. But talk about the way this group of Weddington Warriors has come together, even with a lot of young players, to really step up and improve on what was a great season last year.
Well, I think our upperclassmen that were there last year, the Travis and Goins, Mitchell Carson, Jack Jenkins, and those guys, they've been there. They were part of it last year, and I think they've helped become leaders for our young kids that are coming through. And those young guys have come in and bought into what those seniors are telling them, and what the coaches are telling them, and it's been a real good year for us there.
Look, you mentioned three of the guys that I just love to watch. Trevison, he's one of those kids, you're going to call his name every couple of minutes, just seems to be where the ball is, and just, Mitchell, same thing. Talk about those guys and just what they have meant to you as a coach to be around those guys the past 4 years.
Well, you're right. They are a special group of kids. They've come through. I think it's the first class that I've had as I come through Weddington. It's the fourth year there, and they were freshmen when I got there. They just bring a lot of hard work to the program, and a lot of heart. And those are the type of kids you want to coach that has that heart. And when you got the athletic ability with the heart, it just makes a special player, and that's what those kids are. You
talked about those record number of wins, only the one blemish. We got to talk about that one. Talk about that now that we're on the heels of a rematch there, how much that means to you guys to be able to try to maybe make amends, for lack of a better word, and get one back on Cupperson on Friday night.
Well, I think the loss, you never want to lose, but I think it did help us. It got us back focused even more. You've got to stay focused on through it, and that one slipped away from us, and not taking anything away from Cupperson. They're a good football team too, but I think it helped refocus us a little bit more and get us back on track. And things you got to learn from a loss, and we just got to keep playing, and it should be a great matchup on Friday, and just hopefully we can come out on top.
What is it going to take to get that victory on Friday night?
Well, it's going to take a defense, standing tall and get some stops, and then offensively, we've got to put more points on the board, and and get drives going, and taking care of the football. Hopefully we can go in with no turnovers, and I think if we do that, I think we can come out with a victory. And the biggest thing defensively is just stopping the big play.
Coach Carson, we certainly appreciate your time and wish you and the Warriors the best of luck on Friday night.
Time for Extra Points.
In my Extra Points tonight, the game on Friday night is one of the biggest in Union County history. But at its heart, it's two groups of high school students that have worked extremely hard to play the game of football with excellence. And these kids have brought pride and excitement to an entire community. Regardless of the outcome on Friday night, that's what we should be celebrating. And with that, we are all out of time. Special thanks to DMR Reconstruction for sponsoring us each and every week, and thank you, the listener, for tuning in here on the Mighty 1190. We've examined the state of our union, and I can report it is good. Good night, everybody.